and start our review. So, final exam review. All right, so question number 1 wanted me to graph. And y'all, they want us to graph f of x equals x to the third plus 2. Now, it's going to have 4 pictures to choose out of. So, y'all, the easiest thing is just go to our calculator and put this thing in y1. So, I'm going to share my screen for the calculator. All right, we're going to go to y equals. And we're going to put in our x to the third plus 2. So, x exponent 3. Arrow down from the exponent and put in your plus 2. And remember, these x cubed graphs were the sort of squiggly graphs that went uphill left to right. So we want to graph that. And notice it's going uphill left to right and crosses the the y-axis at 0, 2. Okay, so I'm going to show y'all a picture of what they're going to do on that. So y'all, they're going to give you the 4 pictures. And we would choose B, where it's going up and crossing at 2 and then going uphill. Okay. So, number 1, I would just graph. Number 2, they want us to find f of 4. So, find f of 4 given f of x equals 5x squared plus 5x minus 2. So y'all remember when they give me f of 4, they want me to take this function and put a 4 in for both of these x's. So f of 4 will equal 5 times 4 squared plus 5x. So that'll be plus 5 times 4 and then minus 2. I know at that point, we're just going to throw that in our calculator and see what we get. So let me quit this screen. And I'm going to clear my memory over here. So we had 5 times 4 squared plus 5 times 4 minus 2. All right, so let me hit enter and we'll have what f of 4 equals. Now the 4 choices were 102, 58, 98, and 34. So we want one of them 4 answers. And y'all look at that. When we put it in, we get 98. All right, 3 we'll have to draw here. On 3, they want to know if this is a function or not. So is the graph a function? All right, y'all, so this graph I'm going to go out 5 in every direction. All right, y'all, so this graph goes uphill, downhill, uphill, downhill, uphill, downhill, and uphill. So, is that the graph of a function? Well, y'all, we would use the vertical line test on this. Now, the vertical line cannot intersect this graph more than once anywhere. So if you start drawing vertical lines, it's only intersecting once here. It only intersects it once here. No matter where I draw these vertical lines, it's only intersecting that graph one time. So since it only intersects it one time with any of these vertical lines, this is going to be, yes, a function. Okay, remember, if it hits it twice, say if my line hits the graph twice, then we would put no on that, okay? All right, number 4 wants us to solve. I got x minus y plus 5z equals negative 13. I got 2x plus z equals negative 2. And then I got x plus 2y plus a z equals 4. All right, y'all. So what I'm going to do on this, I'm going to use the matrix in my calculator to solve this. Now, you got to be careful because notice this second equation here, the x's are out of order. Because remember, I always want my x's in a column, then my y's, and then my z's, and then my numbers. So let me show you what I'm about to put in the calculator under the matrix. I'm going to put a 1, negative 1, 5, and a negative 13. The second row, I'm going to put a 2 for the x's, a 0 for the y, since it didn't have a y in the second equation, a 1 for the z, and then my negative 2. And then my last row will be a 1, 2, 1, and a 4.
I totally forgot how we get to the matrix.
Oh, I'm about to get you there.
How are you listening
Okay.
to them?
Now, the first thing we got to figure out is what size we got, remember? So I got 3 rows. So this is going to be a 3 by 1, 2, 3, 4 columns. All right, y'all. So we're going to go throw this in our calculator and solve this. Now, remember, I'm going to get an ordered pair out of this, my x, my y, and my z. So, y'all, here we go. We're going to go to the calculator. I'm going to clear everything off real quick. All right, so to get to the matrix, I'm going to hit second, x negative 1. Now, to put our numbers in, we need to go over to edit. And I'm just going to hit enter because A already has stuff in it. So I got a 3 by 4, but mine's already got a 3. So I'm going to hit enter and enter on the 4. Now we're going to put in our numbers we got. So I had a 1, a negative 1, and hit enter after every number. A 5, enter, and then a negative 13. Second row, I got a 2, enter, 0, enter, 1, enter, and a negative 2, enter. And in our last row, we had a 1, enter, 2, enter, 1, enter, and a 4. So enter all those numbers. So now once we had everything into that calculator, we hit second mode so that we can quit. Because now it's all stored in our calculator. Now to get the answers, I'm going to hit second, x negative 1 again for the matrix stuff. Arrow right to math. So do y'all remember what I'm looking for in this math column? Let me go down through here and y'all tell me what you want me to stop at when I'm going.
Is it REF or RREF?
RREF, perfect. So remember, RREF, hit enter. It'll bring the RREF to the screen. And then we're going to, for the third time, we're going to hit second, x negative 1, so that we can get the matrix we just put in there. So mine was matrix A for my 3x4, so I just hit enter on that. And y'all, it brings everything on the screen. So remember, when I hit enter, the far right column is our answers. The X is on top, then the Y, then the Z. So y'all, what are we getting? We're getting what? A 0,
3 and a -2.
3, and a -2. There you go. All right, so you'll find one where they just got the right numbers and be done, okay? All right, y'all, number 5 is another one we got to draw. So for 5, they want us to find the domain of the graph. Now, this one, they're going to give us a picture of a graph to find the domain. Later on, we'll have one of the fractions where we got to do it. So, y'all, let's draw this. They're going out 6 on this one in every direction. So I'm going to go out 6 like they did. All right, y'all. So let's see. At -4, -2, I'm going to put my first dot because that's going to be one end of the line. So that's at -4, -2. Right here at -2, -4, I'm putting a dot because that's where it's going to V down to. And then the last point is over here at 4, 2. Now I'm just going to connect these dots. So remember, they're wanting the domain of the graph. What that means are my X values. So I want the X value for where it starts to where it's going to. Now, since these got solid points, we're going to use brackets on this, okay? So the X value on the left, well, if I draw this point to the X axis, this first dot has an X value of -4. And then the line goes over to here. And this point right here has an X value of a +4. Remember, on this one, we're only concerned with the X values that it starts at and it ends at, okay?
So we only look at the first. Okay, so that middle one don't matter at all.
No, it's just where the line went from downhill to uphill.
Okay.
But the domain is all these solid lines going through here, so it's going to cover all the Y value. I mean the X values from where it started to where it ended at.
Okay.
Okay. All right, 6, we're going to match the inequality to a graph. So the inequalities were with the greater than, less than. So I got 6x minus 3y is greater than or equal to a -5. So your trick on this one really is to solve it for the y. Once we got the y solved for, then we can actually graph this and see what we get. So to solve it for the y, you got to move the 6x to the other side by subtracting 6x. So that's going to bring down our -3y greater than or equal So you don't have like terms. So I usually put my x's before my number. So I'm going to put my negative 6x and then minus my 5. Now, we got to divide everybody by that negative 3 because we want that to be a positive 1. So we're going to come in and divide everybody by negative 3. So y'all remember what else I'm going to do? So what have I got to do since I divided everybody by that negative 3? So y'all see that inequality?
Change the sign.
We got to flip it around. Remember, anytime we divide by negatives, so that greater than is going to become a less than or equals. So remember, reverse the inequality. When dividing by negatives. All right, so negative 3 gives me a y, less than or equal. Negative 6 divided by negative 3 gives me a 2x. And then that minus 5 divided by negative 3, this will become a positive also. And y'all, I can't do nothing with that, so I'm going to leave that a 5/3. At this point, I'm going to go to my calculator and graph this. And remember, I'm going to show you how to shade that. Y'all might have forgot by now. So let's go graph it on the calculator and see what we get. So let me clear everything out. So I'm going to go to y equals. I'm going to put in my 2x plus my 5 divided by 3. Now, do y'all remember how I made these things shade? I arrowed all the way left on these calculators to the left side of that Y1. The older calculators, at this point, you would hit enter until you got the triangle that was bigger on the bottom since it's less than. On these newer calculators, you hit enter. And remember, it tells you what color do you want to shade. So I'm going to keep mine blue. But go down to the line and arrow right until you get this triangle right here for less than. So I'm going to go back. This triangle is greater than because it's bigger on top. This triangle here is our less than because it's greater on the bottom. Arrow down to OK and hit enter. So now it's going to shade below our solution when I hit graph. And y'all, there you go. I'm going to pick the graph that's got it shaded just like that and be done with it, okay?
Mr. Eugene, do you remember off the back of your head what section this was? Was this not, was it?
Graphing these inequalities. Oh Lord, that would have been
I'm gonna have to hover through this whole binder to see what.
Yeah, I know it was on test 2, but I can't remember that
Okay, so test 2 was, you said it was on the second test we had?
Yeah, I believe it was on that second test.
So it had to either be 6.1
It would have been the last
or
it would have been the last section from whatever.
So 5.4 complex rational expressions.
No, go before that.
Increasing and decreasing, increasing, decreasing.
Oh, y'all, let me think. Maybe it was test 1.
Okay, I'm gonna say I feel like it was before.
Oh, yeah. Go to test 1, and it would have been the last section for test 1, I think.
Is it not systems of linear inequalities and linear programming?
That's it.
Okay. Okay, got it. Thank you.
Okay. All right, y'all. Now, number 7 is our ladder question. So, a ladder resting on a wall. Whoops. A ladder is resting against the wall. the top of the ladder. So the top of the ladder touches the wall at a height of 15 feet. Now, they say find the length of the ladder. If the length is 5 feet more than its distance from the wall. Okay, y'all. So the best thing on this, I'm gonna start out with my picture first. So I got my wall here, and we got this ladder leaning up on it. So the first thing they told me that this ladder's touching the wall right here at a height of 15 feet. So that means this height right here is 15 feet. Then they're saying, hey, find the length of this ladder. If the length of this ladder is 5 feet more than its distance from the wall. Well, y'all, right here's my distance from the wall on the bottom. I don't know that distance, so guess what we'll put there? That'll be our X, right? Because we don't know the distance it is from the wall, but we do know that this ladder was 5 feet more than this distance. So this ladder will be X plus 5. So we got a right triangle, so we're going to use the Pythagorean theorem on this. A squared plus B squared will equal C squared. Now you just got to remember, C has to be the longest side no matter what. And I'll let this be side A, and that can be side B. So I'm going to plug in for everything I got. So for A squared, I'm going to put in my X squared. B squared will be my 15 squared. That's going to equal C, which is X plus 5 squared. All right, y'all. So let's start squaring everything and see what we get. So I can't do nothing to that one yet. So that's going to stay X squared. 15 squared is 225. And then if you FOIL this, remember, on the side, X plus 5 squared, you got to FOIL that out. X plus 5 times X plus 5. Okay? So y'all, that'll give me X times X is an X squared. X times 5 is 5X. 5 times X is 5X. And then 5 times 5 is 25. Add your like terms in the middle, and you get an X squared plus 10X plus your 25. Put that in place of the X plus 5 squared. So y'all, here we go. We got these X squared terms. So the first thing you would try to do is get all the X squareds on one side. But y'all, what's going to happen when I try to subtract this X squared to move it over here?
They'll cancel out.
Exactly. They're canceling that on both sides. So all that's left over here is your 225. All that's left over here is 10X plus 25. So we don't even have x squared terms no more. So all we got to do is solve that for that x, y'all. So I'm going to subtract 25 from both sides. So look at that. I get 200 equals 10x. So my final step, divide both sides by the 10. So y'all, x, against them 10s cancel, is going to equal 200 divided by 10. What's that, 20? But y'all, they didn't ask me how long is x. They asked how long is that ladder. So the ladder equaled x plus 5, which is 20 plus 5. So our ladder is going to be 25 feet long. So y'all remember, do not stop when you get to x. Remember, they want to know the length of my ladder, so you definitely got to plug it in and get that 20 plus 5 to get your 25 there, okay? So that was the only word problem you had to worry about. You didn't have to worry about that wire and all that stuff on this one, okay? So I'll let y'all catch that up and then we'll move on.
Mr. Eugene, is this not the one where you break down the like how you said the side work? Because I know we did a lot of side work. Remember you was one, it's like an automatic one for, is it x squared or something like that? An automatic side work for x squared on these type of problems? Or am I thinking about something else?
Oh, I think you're doing the vertex stuff.
But you know what I'm talking about?
With the rockets and stuff.
Okay, yep, that's what I'm talking about. Okay.
Mm-hmm. Let me move my camera back up here. All right, so, okay, number 8. All right, so number 8, find the domain. So this time, they're giving us a fraction instead of a graph. So they're giving us f of x equals x squared plus 14x plus 45 all over x squared minus 4. Now they want it in interval notation when we're done. So for the domain of a fraction, you take the bottom, set it equal to 0. And solve this for the x. Now remember, that x squared, that 2 means you got to get 2 answers on this, okay? But y'all, the easiest way to solve this would be add 4 and do our square roots to it. So I'm going to add 4 to both sides. And I get x squared equals a positive 4. Then I'm going to take square roots of both sides. Now remember, since I'm taking the square root of a number, in the front, I need to put my plus or minus. So the square root of x squared will give us an x. Square root of 4 is going to give us a plus or minus 2. You gotta exclude both of these values from that domain, the positive 2 and the negative 2. So our domain is going to start at negative infinity until we hit negative 2 first. We're going to union around negative 2 till we hit positive 2. And then we're going to union around positive 2 until we hit positive infinity. Okay, so y'all's is probably going to be just like mine. It might not have a 4. It might have a 1, 9, 16. But whatever number you have here, you'll be able to take the square root of, okay? All right, y'all, 9. We're going to construct and simplify the difference quotient. And remember, the difference quotient was f of x plus h minus f of x all divided by h. So f of x plus h minus f of x divided by h. Now for my function, they're giving me f of x equals 8x squared plus 4x. All right, y'all, so what do we got to figure out to play this formula? We got to figure out the f of x plus h stuff, because they gave me f of x right here, and the bottom's always h. So we got to find the f of x plus h to put into that formula. Okay. So f of x plus h, we're going to put an x plus h in for both of these x's. So that'll be 8 times x plus h squared plus 4 times x plus h. So you put an x plus h in for both of the x's. Now we got to simplify this out. So y'all bring down the 8. First, you got to figure out what x plus h squared equals. So this come out of 5.4. So if y'all got your 5.4 notes, what did we put in place of x plus h squared?
Is it AX?
Well,
Or okay, go ahead.
so don't worry about the 8 yet. So
Okay.
so we saved all this in our notes when we did x plus h squared. But when we FOILed that all the way out, you ended up with an x squared plus a 2hx plus h squared. So y'all, I would save this for your final exam, because
I think this is the one I was asking you about. Like, it's a lot of. I know we did a lot of side work, so I can't even just pin it.
All right, so I'm going to put that in for that, and then I'm going to bring down the second part for the second. So all I did was the x plus h squared to get this. So y'all, the only thing going to be different on y'all's problem is the 8 and the 4. So you're going to have to go through the same process I'm going through. Now, to finish simplifying this, we're going to distribute the 8 and the 4. So 8x squared. 8 times 2 is 16hx. 8h squared. And this one will give me a plus 4x. And then 4h. Now, guess what? No like terms. So all of this is now f of x plus h. So we're going to start putting everything into our formula. I'm going to bring down the 8x squared, 16hx plus 8h squared plus 4x plus 4h. All of that will be minus the f of x, which is the 8x squared, plus the 4x. And remember, all of this is over the h. So, do y'all remember what happens up here? All this stuff in the second parentheses is going to cancel out. Because look here, we're subtracting 8x squared. Y'all, there's a positive x squared. So the 8x squareds are going to cancel out. Now remember, we're subtracting a 4x. Well, here's a positive 4x. So those 4x's are going to cancel out. Everything always cancels unless it has the h in it. So see, I got a 16hx plus my 8h squared plus my 4h all over h. So the question would be, what will this simplify to for my final answer? Well,
Would be 20. All right, no.
It'll be 16 h squared, or would it be 16x?
I would go with 16x because then
Okay, because they cancel. Yeah. And then it'll be 8 squared plus 8 squared. I'm sorry.
8. Now cancel me an 8.
Oh no, 8h.
8h. There you
yes.
go.
And then it'll be plus 4.
Plus 4 because that h cancels. Good job. And y'all, that's what Math Lab or the choice you're going to pick will be this one, okay? So remember, all you do at the last step is cancel 1h from the top of everything and be done. All right, y'all, let's see. Number 10 wanted us to graph f of x equals -4 times square root of x. And this one would have 4 pictures to pick out of. So I'm just going to go right into my calculator and graph this in my y equals. So I'm going to clear this other one out. And notice I hit on these newer calculators, if you hit clear twice, it'll clear out the shading and everything. And then let's put in our -4 square root of x. So square root is second x squared, and put that x under there. Now, I will say this, that negative member is going to kick it down under the x-axis because it reflects those. So when we hit graph, we want the picture, where it's just going sort of downhill, left to right. And then y'all, I'll show you what they're going to do on that. And they're not real picky on it. The only picture you see that's going down like they had would be this B here, okay? So there'll be 4 distinct pictures you'll be able to pick out of on those. All right, y'all, number 11, determine intervals. Increasing, decreasing, and constant. All right, so let me get me some more. So this one I'm going to have to draw again. Oh, I'm going to go out about 7 or so. All righty, so let's see. At -3, 2, so at -3, 2, I got a point. And then at +3, 2, I got a point. Now these ones connect straight across. And then you're on the right side and the left side. So I'm going to put my increasing, decreasing, and constant. Now remember, these will use the curvy parentheses. So increasing, this graph is going uphill left to right. So this right here is my increasing. Question is, where does it start increasing on the x? Now remember, I only want x values on this. So this thing starts increasing at this x value, which was what, +3? And it's going uphill as my x's head towards
infinity.
infinity. So let's see what y'all think about the decreasing over here. So this section's decreasing, going downhill. So where does this one start and end at?
Negative infinity to
Okay.
negative 2.
That's it. Perfect. Okay, because once again, we're just looking at our x's. So that means constant has to be what to what?
Negative 3 to 3.
Negative 3 to 3. Okay. So if y'all remember on this problem, you're only focusing on these x values, you'll be good to go, okay? So it's not too bad. You notice they're taking a little bit of everything from each section we did. But they're not giving us those killer problems on some of these. So I was happy about that. All righty. So this is one where we had to do the translations, moving up and down, left and right, and all that. They want to know how can f of x equals negative times x minus 10 squared plus 5 be obtained from the graph of y equals x squared. So y'all remember, x squared is the basic graph. What we're wanting to know is, what are all these moves doing to it? So the first move is going to be these parentheses here. When I subtract 10 from my x inside the parentheses, am I going to go left or am I going to go right?
Right.
I'm going to go right. There you go. So remember, subtraction's right, adding's left. So we're going to shift 10 units to the right. What's this negative in the front going to do? Well, that thing's going to reflect me. But y'all remember this. When the negative's in front of the function, it reflects you over the x-axis. Now, they'll put y-axis on a couple of these, but you throw them two answers out. We don't reflect nothing over the y-axis on this test, okay? It's only the x. And now at the end, there's a plus 5. What's that doing? That's going to shift me what?
Left 5.
Oh, look at it. Well, left and right's only from the parentheses. So since this 5...
Oh, it's going up 5, my bad.
It's going to shift me up 5 units. Okay, so you just pick the one that has those moves on it and be done. You don't even have to graph it. Because like I said, this is multiple choice test. So you didn't have to try to graph it and get the little box and all that. You just had to know what was happening with what they're doing to it, okay? All right, 13, find zeros. And they're giving us f of x equals x squared minus 8x plus 25. Now, this one would have been really nice if it would have factored, but y'all, 13 ain't going to factor for you. We're going to have to use the quadratic formula. So I got to figure out my letters. So no number in front of x squared, that means a will be 1, b will be the negative 8, and c will be 25. So do y'all remember my quadratic formula? So remember, it started out with negative b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac all over 2 times a. So y'all take your quadratic formula and plug in for each letter. So negative b will be a -8 plus or minus b squared will be -8 squared minus 4 times a is 1 and c, which is 25. All of that over 2 times 1. So with the quad, your first step is getting all this stuff plugged in. So the only purpose of this negative was to turn that -8 into a +8 because you got 2 negatives. So that's going to be a +8. Now, no matter what number you got for b, when you square it, it will be positive. So here I got a -8 times -8 is a +64 minus, I've only got one negative over here, so this is going to stay subtraction. 4 times 1 times 25 is 100. And y'all on the bottom, that 2 times 1 is a 2. So now we gotta, all we can do now is just work under this little radical here. So,
Listen, why did you say that was gonna stay a minus
do what now?
at the first before you got the 64 minus?
Okay, so I did the -8 times -8, got my 64.
Right.
All of this stuff over here is being multiplied. And since we only had one minus, it stayed negative.
Okay.
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 All right, you also bring down your 8 plus or minus 64 minus 100 gives me a -36. All of that over a 2. So now let's see what y'all remember. What is the square root of a -36?
Yeah, I don't think you can't put that in a calculator.
Oh, well, you can't when you're in regular mode, but
But oh, is it I?
oh, it's going to be I. What I?
I 36? I -36?
Well, let me ask you this. So the negative will give me an I on this one, okay?
Mm-hmm.
But what's the square root of 30?
Oh,
I thought I heard it.
36.
6I, right? All over that 2. So y'all going to have a perfect square under here. A 36, a 25, a 49, or something like that. But remember, when that thing's negative, you're going to get a imaginary answer out of that. Now, y'all, the last step, both of these numbers on top, divide by 2. So we got to divide both of them by that 2. Sort of like y'all did them H's a while ago. So this 2 affects everybody. So 8 divided by 2 will give me a 4 plus or minus 6I divided by 2 gives me a 3I. Okay, y'all, so just remember that radical right there, okay? Now, I will say this. If you wanted to check that on the calculator, the mode, you have to arrow down on the calculator on mode to where that real, and from real, you got to put it on to A plus BI if you want the calculator to be able to do square roots of negative numbers. So now when I put in that square root of -36, it'll spit out that 6I, okay? So that's what you got to do if you want the calculator to do those imaginary ones.
and you said go to where?
Okay, so let me go back one more time.
I know you in mode, but
So I went mode. Go down to where it says real A plus
okay.
BI.
Uh-huh.
Arrow right on A plus BI and hit enter on that.
Okay.
Now you can clear the screen, and when you put in the square root of negative numbers, it'll give you the I answers, okay?
Okay.
And you can really leave it on that because it ain't going to hurt nothing else.
I was just gonna say, do I? Okay, as soon as but to take it off, I still just highlight real again.
You just go back and highlight real. There you go.
Okay.
All right, what was that number? Number 13, okay. All right, so 14. Find the vertex. All right, y'all, so the vertex formula was negative b over 2a, and then f of negative b over 2a. Now, the function they're giving us is f of x equals negative 2x squared plus 12x minus 14. So y'all, I'm just going to throw y'all a curveball. This is where we did the line of symmetry stuff and the min and max stuff and all that fun stuff, okay? And remember, since that's a negative in front, it would have flipped it over and made this a maximum. But you don't have to know that. All we got to do is find the vertex. So let's figure out our numbers. A will be negative 2, B will be the 12, and C will be the negative 14. So to get my x value, I do negative b over 2a. So that'll be a negative times my 12 over 2 times negative 2. So I just plugged in for my b and my a. So y'all, that gives me negative 12 over negative 4. 2 negatives make that a positive 3. Now, I'll tell you a trick about this one. Look at this. One answer was negative 3, negative 5. 4, 3. 3, 4, and negative 5, negative 3. There's only one answer that has the right x value. And that would be C, which would be 3, 4. So when I do this y value, I better get a 4, okay? Because that's the only answer that had the 3 for my x. So to get to y value, we put that 3 in for these two x's. So we're finding f of 3 now. So negative 2 times 3 squared plus 12 times 3 minus 14. And y'all, this part, we can go plug it right into our calculator. So let me clear everything off. So I had negative 2 times parentheses 3 squared plus 12 times 3 minus 14. I didn't hear that.
They said 4.
Oh, so when I hit enter, bam, there it is, right? So we knew that because there was only one answer that had what we needed. So that equals 4. So our vertex is 3, 4. All right, y'all, number 15. Find the zeros and multiplicity. And they're giving me f of x equals 4 times x plus 7 squared times x minus 7 to the third. So remember, the x's give me the zeros. The exponents are the multiplicity. Now, this number 4 out here, it don't have an x with it. So really, you can scratch out that 4. It's just a 4 being multiplied by all this. To get the zeros, we got to use the x's. So to find zeros, we take each of our x factors and set them equal to 0. So y'all solve that. We subtract 7 from both sides. X equals -7. Remember, the zeros were always opposite in sign from their factors. So that was a +7 factor. The 0 was negative. Watch, this one has a -7 factor. Well, its 0 is going to be a +7. So the first 0 was -7. So what was its multiplicity? Well, remember, I got it from that factor. And
2 and 3.
and that factor had an exponent of a
2.
2. The other one, +7,
3.
what's its multiplicity?
3.
What did y'all just say?
3.
3, right there. Bam, there you go. Now, y'all, that's all we had to do on that, and set the factors equal to 0, and then put their multiplicity and be done. All right, 16 says graph. They're giving us g of x equals -x times x plus 1 squared times x minus 4 squared. Now, y'all, here's the thing on this one. On the graph on this one, the x's go from -6 to +6. The y values go from -240 to a +240. If you want to get the graph of this one to look exactly like one of them 4 pictures, you got to change your window on the calculator. Okay, so let's go put it in the calculator, and I'm going to show you how to change that window. So go to y equals, I'm going to clear everything off. So first, I'm just going to put in my equation. I had a -x times parentheses x plus 1, close parentheses, and square that. And then I had a parentheses x minus 4. And that was squared also. So there's our equation. Now I'm going to set my window to match their numbers. So I'm going to hit the window button. X minimum, I said, was -6, enter. X max was +6, enter. And then I'm going to go down to the Y minimum was -240. And then the Y max was a +240. All right, so that window's set, y'all. So we're going to hit graph and see what this thing looks like. All right, so notice it comes down. I'm going to show you the 4 graphs on that one. So remember what we got. So if you notice on the 4 graphs, I would go with C. It was the one where it came down and then touched and went down, okay? So that one, graph it, use the window, like I said. Set that window and then graph it and be done. Now I'm going to show you how to set the window back after you do that problem. So let me go back to my calculator. So say I want to reset my window. To reset the window back to a 10 by 10, you hit the zoom button and then go down to number 6 and hit enter. Y'all, when you do that, it's back to a 10 by 10 graph, okay? All right, y'all, let me see. 17, find the vertical asymptotes. And they always put so it could be asymptote or asymptotes. So they're giving us f of x equals x squared plus 2x minus 8 over x squared minus 4x minus 12. All right, so remember, vertical asymptotes is almost like doing domain stuff. We always take the bottom, set it equal to 0. And y'all, guess what? We get to factor this one. So x squared is an x and an x. The last sign's negative, so one's positive, one's negative. All right, y'all, factors of 12, that'll give me a 4.
X plus 2x minus 6.
So plus 2 minus 6, perfect. And y'all, let's just solve those and get these. Once we solve this, we'll have our 2 vertical asymptotes. So we'll subtract 2. So one of our vertical asymptotes is x equals -2. And then the second one will add 6. And my second asymptote will be x equals +6. Y'all be careful on this one because one of the choices, they put y values here. And they got y equals -2, y equals 6. Remember, vertical asymptotes got to be x's, okay? All right, y'all, number 18. They want us to find the value. So they're giving us f of x equals -7x plus 3. G of x equals g of x is going to equal -4x squared plus 6x minus 2. They want me to find G compose f of -9. So this was the composition stuff. So G compose f of -9 means G of f of -9. So remember, we find f of -9 first. Whatever answer we get for f of -9, we put into the G. So these are like two-step equations, okay? So let's put a -9 into the f equation first. So -7 times -9 plus 3. So that's what, 63? 63 plus 3 gives me 66. So since f of -9 is 66, we now put that 66 into our G equation, and we're finding G of 66. Woo, y'all, I'm about to get a big number on this, and it looks like. Because I got 66 squared on this. Plus 6 times 66, woo, minus a 2. Y'all, I'm about to plug this one on the calculator because, Lord, who knows what 66 squared is, right? So let me plug that on that calculator. Woo, I'm expecting a big number. So I had -4 times 66.
17.
Then what? 6 times 66. And then minus 2. So any of y'all punch that in?
Yeah. 1,730.
Oh, does it look like what I got?
Yes.
So negative Oh, negative 17,030.
Oh, yeah, 17,000.
So there you go. Good job punching it in. Woo, I seen that big number on the answer blank and I was like, no way, but guess what? I just got that answer blank. Okay. Yeah, their answers were 130, negative 17,030, 2,663, and 143. So there wasn't no way missing that one if you plug that one in. All right, y'all, 19. Another one of these compositions. So f of x equals 4x squared plus 5x plus 8. G of x equals 5x minus 4. They want us to find G compose f of x. So like this one, Walgo, this will be G of f of x. But notice they didn't give me any numbers on this one to plug in. So since I don't have numbers to plug in, all I can do is take my f equation right here and plug it into my x. Y'all, you're going to take this whole f equation and plug it in for that one x. Okay? So let's see what that's going to do. If I plug all this into that x, I have 5 times x, which will be 4x squared, plus 5x, plus 8. And then at the end is a minus 4. Okay, so you're going to take your f function and put the whole function into the gx. All right, now to finish this, I'm going to distribute my 5 through the parentheses. So I get 20x squared, 25x plus 40 minus that 4. Well, y'all, only thing I can do to that is add those like terms at the end. So I get 20x squared plus my 25x. And then what's that? 40 minus 4 gives us a positive 36 and be done. All right, so be careful on this one, okay? Because it don't give you the numbers like number 18 did. So that's why I had to put the whole function in there, okay? All right, y'all, number 20. Number 20, determine if it's 1-to-1. If it's 1-to-1, find the inverse. So we're going to find the formula for the inverse. Now, if you put not 1-to-1 on this one, you're going to get it wrong. Every single one of y'all's is going to be 1-to-1. So you got to find the inverse, okay? So I got f of x equals 3x minus 6. So let's see if y'all remember. To find the inverse, I'm going to replace f of x with a y. So it's going to be y equals 3x minus 6. So y'all, what did we do next when we were finding the inverse?
Did you flip the signs?
Well, we not really the signs, but we did sort of switch something.
Does it become 3y? It's like x equals 3y.
X equals 3y minus 6. So we switched the x and y around, remember? And now you're going to solve it for the y. So remember, we switched the x and y.
So then you minus 6 on, or add 6 to both sides.
So now we're going to solve for y. So I'm going to add 6. So let's see. I get an x plus 6 equals 3y. And then
Divide by 3.
Divide by 3. So that cancels for my y. So my y is good. And y'all, we're not going to
So-
simplify that. We're just going to leave that at x plus 6 over 3. And then technically, the last thing we did, we changed the y back to the f negative 1 of x. And then we put in our x plus 6 over 3. Because remember, this was the function. F negative 1 of x meant the inverse function.
Inverse, yeah. So that last part is the answer.
This right here. Actually, since it's multiple choice, they'll have all of that there.
Okay, so make sure
Yeah.
you don't do that.
Yeah. Now, MathLab, they just usually ask y'all for this. But yeah, see, since this one is multiple choice, we would pick the what do we get? X. What do we get?
F negative 1x plus x minus 6 over 3.
So that'd be this D right there, okay?
Okay.
So I didn't think y'all would remember that. Good job.
Thanks.
Right, number 21, we're graphing. And it is f of x equals 4 to the x minus 3. Now, thank God you don't have to graph this in MathLab. It'll have 4 pictures to pick. But you don't have to figure out, well, am I going left to right and use that horizontal and all this? All we're going to do on this, we're going to graph it and pick one of our 4 pictures. So I'm going to go to y equals. And on this one, I'd probably make sure you're back on a 10 by 10 graph, okay? So since I did my Zoom while ago, mine will all be a negative 10, 10. But make sure it is on this one. And then we had what? 4. And then our exponent was x minus 3. And y'all, I'm just going to hit graph. But remember, these graphs went uphill left to right. So it sort of hugs the x-axis. And then it gets on the right side and starts going uphill. Y'all, only one picture will look like that. So let me show you my graph, my 4 answers. So notice ours went along and then went uphill. So we would choose B on that, okay? All right, y'all, 22, convert to logarithmic equation. So we just did this on our test. Test 4, this question came from it. I got 4 to the 3rd equals 64. So to convert to a log, you write log. The base of the log is the same as the base of the exponential. So the base will be the 4. The result is?
It'll be 4 times what is 64?
Oh, you're going so far. You're going to put it in, you got 2. So remember, the result 64 goes here, and then the exponent, which is the 3 goes there. That's all you got to do to that, and don't even go no further.
Oh, okay.
Okay. Now on theirs, they got it in a different order. They got 3 equals log 4 of 64. It's the same thing. They're just using a different order on it, okay? But they're using the exponent, then the log part. But either way works. But just remember, they're doing it that way, okay? They're sort of flipping them around.
What number was that for test 4? Do you know?
On test 4, what y'all was doing this on, like, it was either 7 and 8 or 9 and 10.
Yeah, that's one of the most recent ones we did.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because I just took that practice test. I'm trying to see which.
Yeah, it would have been 7, 8, 9, and 10 range where it said like convert it.
Oh, yep, it's right here. I got it.
Okay. All righty, let's see. 23. 23 came off of that test now. I don't remember what number it was, but you'll remember it when you see it. So express as sums and differences of logs. This is the one I've been having y'all start the whole way through. Log base b of m to the fifth, p to the third, over n to the fourth, b to the second. It looks just like your test question. Oh, this might have been around
This is 16.
16. There you go.
Yep.
Tops are positive, bottoms will be negative. So we'll get a
Mhm.
log b of m to the fifth plus a log b of p to the third minus a log b of n to the fourth minus a log b of b squared. So at this point, we're going to bring exponents down. But what are you going to put for this last section?
You're going to cross off the b's and then just put the 2.
There you go. And on the others, we're just going to bring those
So
other ones.
5 log bm
5 log b of m.
plus
Uh-huh.
the 3 log b p
Uh-huh.
Minus 4
Uh-huh.
log b of n,
Uh-huh.
and then just do the minus 2.
There you go. Okay, y'all remember when the base of the log matches the base raised to an exponent, all that equals is that exponent. Hey, this one was off the last test, and this was probably the last question on the test. The number of books in the library increases according to this function. B equals 2,400 e to the 0.05 t.
And then how many years?
And they want to know how many books will the library have after 4 years?
So then you replace the t with 4 and then plug that in.
Yeah, so we're going to type in 2,400 e 0.05 times what I say 4.
4.
All right, so it's either going to be 3,863, 2,931, 3,804, or 1,678.
B. So
2,931.
31.
There you go.
Is that one also going to be multiple choice like it was on the other test?
Oh yeah, look at that.
Okay.
Right there. So you know if you get one of them 4 answers, you're happy on that one, okay?
Yeah.
Definitely. All right, y'all, number 25. So this exam's not too bad. It's just, it covers just a little bit from every section, like I said. So the last one says solve the exponential equation. So the exponentials, this would have been like the first exponential equation on the test.
Oh, okay.
So I got 3 times 10 minus 2x equals 9. Because if you remember the one on the review I did, the first one, you could rewrite the number using the same base. Can y'all rewrite 9 using a 3?
Yeah.
Okay, so what exponent would I put there to make that 3 look like a 9?
3.
You need to do third power.
Third power. 3.
Oh, well, if you put a 3 there, you got 3 times 3.
Oh, it'll be 2 because that'll be 3 times 3.
So that'll be a 2 there. There you go. So you're going to rewrite them using the same base. That way we know this exponent equals that exponent. So 10 minus 2x has to equal that exponent of a 2. All right, y'all, so solve me and we'll be done. What y'all doing to solve that x?
Minus 10 on both sides.
All right, minus 10. So let's see, I get what a negative
Negative
2x is what a negative 8.
Well,
All right,
right, yeah. And then divided by -2. And then that would be 4. X equals 4.
there you go. So see what happens if you put a 4 in here. 2 times 4. 2 times 4 is 8. 10 minus 8 is 2. And 3 squared does equal 9. Okay.
Did you say that that was on this last test?
The you talking about the birthday girl?
No, this question 25, was this on test 4?
Oh, well, this
Right, because I don't remember this at all.
it was
I remember it, but I don't think it
well,
was on test 4.
it's on test 4, but it's similar to it, not exactly. The one y'all had was something like
Because I'm looking at my test, because I just took it and I don't see it.
well, you had one similar to it. You had one, oh, let me look at it. Y'all hang on 1 second.
Okay.
I'll tell you exactly what number that would have been. That was the first one. Oh, that would have been number
Oh, was it
19.
22?
Look at 19.
Oh, 19. Oh, there it is. Yep.
Because and then 19 you could rewrite with the same base. I think it was 20 where I had to do the log stuff.
Yeah, that
And
was the
uh-huh.
big one, yeah.
And then 21 had the T, E to the T stuff, so I used the LN on that when I remember. Yeah. So y'all, that is your final exam. Now here's the thing. This final exam, remember, final exam opens December 6th.
Okay.
So that's next Wednesday. It's going to close December 10th, which is that Sunday night, okay?
Okay.
Everything in Math Lab has to be done by December 10th, because December 10th, you're going to lose access to that homework. Okay? So, what I'm going to do, technically, this was our last class. What I'm going to do is Monday,